Hello and welcome to Daily Records. I am Tommy Burton, and today's Daily Record is a record that I want to talk about in light of the Vault announcement from Third Man Records. If you're not familiar with the Vault, that's Third Man Records' subscription service, and they are reissuing an incredible version of Captain Beefheart's Trout Mask replica. It's going to be a Chris Bellman cut, and it promises to be a great edition of that album. But I'm going to talk about another Captain Beefheart album, Captain Beefheart and the Magic Band. This is Shiny Beast Bat Chain Puller, released in October of 1978. This was the Captain's 10th album, and it was produced by Captain Beefheart and Pete Johnson, and released on Warner Brothers Records. Now, there's a background to this album, and as you're looking at the cover there, this is a painting by the great Don Van Vliet, who is the Captain Beefheart. Now, initially this album was going to be released on Discreet, which was Frank Zappa's label, and he recorded this album, Bat Chain Puller. And he recorded it, and Frank Zappa and Herb Cohen famously had a huge falling out, and they were fighting over the production of this album because Herb Cohen was funding the production with Frank Zappa's royalty checks. And so because of the fallout from that, Beefheart went and just re-recorded everything and recorded a whole new album and called it Shiny Beast Bat Chain Puller, because Zappa was holding on to the master tapes of the original album. And so this is not the original Bat Chain Puller. And only recently in the last few years has Zappa's family released the original album. Now, there's a collaboration album or a collaborative album with Frank Zappa called Bongo Fury. And so the Captain he formed a new Magic Band and was going to record this album. Now the Magic Band at this time, and I want to go ahead and give credit to the names: Jeff Morris Tepper, slide guitar and guitar; Bruce Fowler, a name a lot of Zappa fans know, on trombone; Eric Feldman on synthesizer; Richard Reedus also on slide guitar; Robert Williams on drums; and Art Tripp on marimba. And so there's another painting by the Captain. And the album was just this, it was probably the album that he released that was most similar to Safe as Milk, which was one of his early albums. And it just had elements of pop music. There was spoken word on here, the poetry, and then the experimental stuff. The song, actually, Bat Chain Puller, was based on the rhythm of his windshield wipers. Because the Captain thought about stuff like that. Now, Robert Christgau, the famed music critic for the Village Voice, he said this was the best album, and he actually wrote, talking about this, without any loss of angularity or thickness, the new compositions achieve a flow worthy of Weil or Monk or Robert Johnson, and his lyrics aren't as willful as they used to be. And so this album has gone on to be regarded as one of the Captain's better solo releases. Now, I want to talk about, a couple of the tracks on here. Tropical Hot Dog Night, great lyrics. Ice Rose, which is just a frantic song. Harry Irene, the opening track on side 2, When I See Mommy, I Feel Like a Mummy. With some very interesting lyrics. And you also have on side 2 Suction Prince, which is more of a ballad type songs. And then it closes with a bit of spoken word poetry, if you want to call it that, Apesma. And you just have to hear it to believe it. I mean, like all Beefheart stuff, it's just all of his albums are an experience, and this one certainly is as well. But if you're a fan of Trout Mask Replica and you're kind of into that thing, this is definitely an album that I think is one of the better Beefheart albums. And it's interesting because it lives in the shadow of Trout Mask. I think everything that he does lives in the shadow of that album. But this is a fantastic record and worthy to be sought out. Mine is a British copy. I showed it to you on the Virgin label from the mid '80s. Is my pressing. But if you see this, grab it because Beefheart is certainly an experience. Like, comment, subscribe, share. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter. It's TommyBurton75. Check out my other channel. The link is in the description up above. And in the meantime, I'll see you all again tomorrow with another Daily Record.